Hi, I'm Elliott and this is Mental Floss on YouTube. Today I'm going to tell you some misconceptions about the English language and grammar. Keep in mind that a lot of people live by these rules, which is totally cool. The moral of this episode is that even grammar experts disagree on some of this stuff, so it's just kind of fun to talk about. Misconception number 1, never begin a sentence with a conjunction like but. I'm going to go ahead and quote directly from the Chicago Manual of Style on this one. There's a widespread belief, one with no historical or grammatical foundation, that it is an error to begin a sentence with a conjunction such as and, but, or so. In fact, a substantial percentage, often as many as 10%, of the sentences in first-rate writing begin with conjunctions. It has been so for centuries, and even the most conservative grammarians have followed this practice. Misconception number 2, paragraphs must be a certain number of sentences. You have heard that in order for a paragraph to be a paragraph, it must have a certain minimum number of sentences, like 3 or 5. But a paragraph really only needs at least one sentence and one main idea. In fact, a paragraph can just be a single sentence, like the ones you often see in books and newspapers. According to Martin Cutts in the Oxford Guide to Plain English, if you can say what you want to say in a single sentence that lacks a direct connection with any other sentence, just stop there and go on to a new paragraph. There's no rule against it. Go crazy, guys. Misconception number 3, there's a clear rule for where to put the apostrophe in a possessive singular noun ending in the letter S. So let's say you're trying to write out the boss's report. Do you spell boss, B-O-S-S apostrophe S, or B-O-S-S apostrophe? Well, experts disagree on which is correct. If you're writing an Associated Press style, you should go with the second one, but other style books recommend the extra S after the apostrophe. You pretty much get to choose as long as you stay consistent. Misconception number 4, don't end a sentence with a preposition. According to Fowler's Modern English Usage, one of the most persistent myths about prepositions in English is that they properly belong before the word or words they govern and should not be placed at the end of a clause or a sentence. This rule was invented in the 17th century, but modern grammar experts acknowledge that sometimes a sentence is clearest with a preposition at the end of it. For example, you should cheer up and you've been lied to. Like you haven't been, but that's the sentence. Misconception number 5, don't split infinitives. In English, an infinitive is usually the form of a verb starting with to, like to walk or to eat. Some believe that it's wrong to stick a word in between the to and the verb itself, like to quickly eat. This rule became widespread thanks to Henry Alford, a 19th century scholar who decided that splitting infinitives was entirely unknown to English speakers, ignoring the fact that even Shakespeare was known to split an infinitive. Nowadays, most grammar guides will tell you to avoid doing this when possible, but there are times when it's okay. For example, the famous Star Trek line, to boldly go where no man has gone before. Misconception number 6, cesarean sections are named after Julius Caesar. Actually, Caesar wasn't the first person born via C-section as the story goes, and many experts claim that he wasn't even born that way because back then, C-sections were only performed if the mother had died during childbirth, and we know his mother lived for years after his birth. Pliny said that it was actually one of Julius' ancestors who was born this way, giving the family its name after the Latin cato, meaning to cut. It's also possible that the Caesars were named for another feature typically associated with that name, like a thick head of hair or gray eyes. Misconception number 7, you're not good, you are well. You're actually allowed to answer how are you with either I'm good or I'm well. That's because am is what's known as a linking verb, which means it should be followed by an adjective. Both good and well can act as adjectives after a linking verb. Mic drop. Misconception number 8, only use whose to refer to people. Many people will tell you that you should only use whose when you're talking about people, not things. For this one, we don't need to look any further than the Oxford English Dictionary, which claims that whose has been used as the possessive form of both what and who for centuries. So it's totally okay for me to say that this is a show whose host is named Elliott. It's me. Misconception number 9, literally can never mean figuratively. This might be the most controversial one on the list, so I'm going to start with a quote from The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. But there was a change in Gatsby that was simply confounding. He literally glowed. There's also a nice quote from The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Tom was literally rolling in wealth. Which, knowing Tom Sawyer, that could have been literally true. My point is that you can't blame teenagers for misusing the word literally. Authors have been using the word literally to mean figuratively for a very long time. Literally. Nowadays, the Merriam-Webster dictionary lists 2 definitions for the word. 1, in a literal sense or manner, and 2, in effect. Misconception number 10, decimate means to kill 1 in 10. A lot of people will scold you for using decimate to mean destroy. They claim that the word's original definition was to kill 1 in 10, so that's what it means. Well, it turns out when the word emerged in the mid-17th century, it meant both to put to death or destroy 1 of every 10 and to tithe. Etymologists don't know which meaning came first, so the original definition argument isn't a good one. Plus, the Merriam-Webster dictionary definition of decimate includes to reduce drastically, especially in number, alongside the two original meanings. Thank you so much for watching Misconceptions on Mental Floss on YouTube, which is made with the help of all of these nice people. If you have a topic for an upcoming Misconceptions episode that you would like to see, just leave it in the comments and we'll take a look at them. I'll see you next week. Bye.